I'm James Rivers. I'm a local artist and writer in Glasgow. I focus mainly on installation, video art, and at the minute I'm writing sketch comedy for the most point, and it sort of switches between allegiances at times. And now at the minute I'm mainly working on art, and I'm working on a new show called Islamageddon, which is the opposite of what it sounds like. That's what I always say. So I've been putting a lot of pieces together with that with some other artists I work with in the city, and we're hoping to get that shown somewhere in some form in the near future. I'm working on a show called Islamageddon, and that is the culmination of lots of different interests in my art. So Islamageddon is going to be about sort of tabloid media and portrayals of Islam, as well as the far right as well, and trying to put them together and put a bunch of crazy stereotypes together and make it a sort of really uncomfortable space. I really like, my art's all about making people uncomfortable and being mischievous, and just trying to really get through to people in a really visceral way, which is something I think art lacks a lot of at the time, and I like to try and be different from that. So I like to make something that actually has a meaning and some controversy behind it, not just for the sake of it, but because there are so many things that suit controversy these days, and I think ignoring it is a bad thing. Stuff about sort of propaganda around the army, mainly video art, and I've had a few exhibitions where I've shown things about that. And the other stuff I like to do is just sort of like, as I say, mischievous, so faking. Like I've made a fake sort of Andy Kaufman exhibition that I've been working on as well, based on lots of fake artefacts from his life, and now making sort of fake, for the Islamageddon I've got sort of fake historical finds that are going to be part of it. So it's all about just sort of being silly to be serious, I suppose. I've never studied art formally, and I've never wanted to. When I was growing up, I've had friends who have done so, and I've respected their work and stuff like that. But I've always gone against doing that. I've always thought that art is more about intellect and insight, and you don't need to learn how to work things out. You just need to know about culture and pop culture and the world around you, and once you've done that, you have the tools to be an artist. Aside of not going to art school, the only one I can think of, in fact, is that when you go to art school you get 3 or 4 years, or however long it is, where you just get to focus on your work, and that's, you're sort of essentially funded to do that, or self-funded or whatever to do that, and that's quite helpful. But apart from that, I've never seen the point of it, and I've never really wanted to be a part of it, because I think once you go to art school, especially in Glasgow, there are certain mindsets you get into that are quite closed. In fact, so I'm going to be as free as I can as an artist. I've been doing art on a very sort of informal basis when I was growing up, starting university myself. Made a couple of things and then basically given up, maybe forgotten about it, one of the two. And then about 3 years ago I met an artist called Jacob Carey, who works in the city as well. And he was doing a show about wrestling, and he wanted me to sort of help out with it a bit, because I like wrestling a lot. Wrestling's the best form of art, by the way. So I helped on that show and sort of talked to him about art and stuff, and I actually found out that he had lots of really similar interests, and sort of made friends with a lot of the people who worked on the show. Another guy called Matt Black, another guy called David Jack, and we've sort of become a really tight-knit group of friends who are working on art together and ideas. So I've done some writing, like a parody newspaper called the Bath Examiner, with one of them. I'm working in Islamageddon with them all. I've worked on shows afterwards with them, and just through talking to each other and find not only that our opinions agree, because we don't always agree on everything, although we cross over quite a lot, but mainly just the attitude of thinking that art's mainly shit and that we want to do something that has a bit of power behind it, and we agree on how to sort of, on where that power should be aimed, I suppose. So I've been really lucky with just finding people. They've been my art school, I suppose. And if I'm honest, I have a very indifferent view of the sort of Scottish creative community and the sort of arts council and all sorts of things, because the way I see it is they're not doing what I'm doing. I see like a lot of the art that comes out in the sea there's some good stuff, but it's mostly quite bland. It's sort of just endless theory, and that has been playing well down in London, and there's been a lot of Turner prizes up here, and I tend to shy away from being involved in that sort of community. Like I go to gallery opens and stuff, maybe because there are pals doing it, and just to sort of keep an eye on what's going on. There's a real support for the sort of meaningful art, dangerous art, I suppose, if you will. It's probably a bit of a strong way of putting it, a pretentious way of putting it, but I don't think there's no one who's willing to put on and fund sort of really controversial art, and that's understandable. But yeah, they're looking for something different to what I'm doing, so I sort of just go in different circles. I couldn't recommend enough Jacob Carey. I think he had a New Work Scotland exhibition in Edinburgh, and he's got a bit of interest, and rightly so. He's great. He does stuff about sort of racism and sexism and sort of ridiculous imagery in pop culture, and it's the happiest coincidence that I've had that I ever get to meet him and sort of work with him in some form and just discuss things with him. And he should be a lot more famous than he won't want to be famous, but not in a bit of a pretentious way, because we're all pretentious. But like, mainly because he's lazy. But so he won't want more work. But if people should at least look at what he's done so far and see how it should be done, I think. The only advice I'd give to anybody, and it's just always be completely honest. Never tone anything down for anybody. If you tone something down because someone will then exhibit it, you're being a liar as an artist. So think of what's actually important to you in life. Think of a way to portray it, and think of a way to portray it in a way that no one ever has and no one can ever top. You've got to believe, and I do believe, even though it's sort of arsehole thing to say, that I'm the best there is. And you've got to believe that, because if you don't, you're cheating everybody who comes to view it as well. So really put a lot of thought into what you're doing, and never apologise for it once you've done it.